Hey there, I'm Komori. If you're an artist, then there's a high chance you've made an original character at one point or another, also known as an OC. Yeah, that's right, I'm calling you guys out on our cringy emo wolf OCs that we thought were cool as heck as kids. Don't lie, I know you made at least one edgy OC somewhere in the back of your sketchbook. A large portion of younger artists tend to make OCs that feel unrealistic or just plain chaotic. And as we grow up, sometimes these characters get pushed aside or forgotten in our old sketchbooks. In my case, my very first original character was a brown and blue cat named Casper. Yes, I was a furry as a kid, and I'm not ashamed of it. Anyways, at the time, I was obsessed with this one show on Cartoon Network called OKKO, which, if you don't know it, I really don't blame you. I don't think it's super popular. But basically, I took most of the backstory and the idea of the protagonist from that show, with some subtle tweaks, and turned him into a cat. Hopefully I've understood a little bit more about character design and story building since I first made this character. I wanted to redesign it in a way that reflects how I draw him with my current skill set, while also keeping the original charm of the design. I also wanted to come up with better lore behind the character so that it feels more like my own and not an obvious ripoff. If you enjoy videos like these, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate any kind of support. But without further ado, here's my redesign process for my very first OC. So, taking a look at what we got to work with, it ain't much, I'll tell you that. Also, why is it that so many people made their earlier OCs bullied or orphans? It's so commonplace to give our OCs awful backstories. Like, I'll bet you there's barely any original characters out there that don't have some kind of tragic event happen. Anyways, the one thing that sets this character apart from any other anthropomorphic cat is the fact that his tail appears as a hand-like appendage, which I honestly quite like. Aside from that, he's as basic as can be. Playful, funny, charming. Alright, this just looks like a bio for a character taken straight out of a Roblox roleplay game. The only other remotely unique personality trait is his love for cookies. Okay, I'm basically picking at scraps here for any kind of character lore. Luckily, I do remember a little bit about what his story was, and it's heavily, and I mean heavily, based on OKKO. Basically, to sum it up into short form, Casper gets a special ring from his grandpa that lets him go into Super Saiyan mode, and one-shot anybody. But this mode has its own conscience, and it's evil and misunderstood, and they have to come together and be in sync, and blah blah blah. Okay, you get the idea. That's really it. That's the whole lore. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make a more compelling backstory than that. Now that you know what the original design and story was, let's discuss how I'll try and improve upon it. For starters, we gotta get this man some dang clothes, dude. It took me a second to figure out what kind of clothes he would wear. The clothing of a character can help someone figure out things like time period, profession, and personality. So it's pretty important that I find something that fits his vibe and his story. I actually decided on going for a steampunk vibe, taking some inspo from that genre to create his new outfit. How does it relate to his new story? Well, I'm glad you asked. For his potential lore, Casper is a steampunk mechanic from the 19th century, developing technology and centering his research on steam-powered robots. With that in mind, it was easy for me to imagine how his outfit would look. Goggles, a satchel, tools, anything a mechanic would need to perform properly in their profession. I decided not to change his color palette that much, as I like how the brown and blue complement each other, while also keeping that steampunk vibe. In terms of the character's animalistic features, I decided to go for a hybrid route, instead of just an anthropomorphic cat. This is just mainly preference, and also because I have not drawn anthropomorphic animals in years. And I mean years. Moving on, let's talk about the most iconic part of this character, which is the tail. Now, I did like how the hand tail looked originally, but it felt out of place from the character's new design. So instead of the tail looking like a straight up hand, I decided that Casper has 3 separate tails that he keeps bundled into a braid-like style, where the end opens up like a sort of claw. I thought this also fit with his mechanic theme. I really like this design for his tail, as it fits with the braids I added to his hair as well. Surprisingly, I've never actually given any of my characters braids before, so I was glad to incorporate it in this redesign. I went a little heavy on the shading for something that was supposed to be a reference sheet, but I wanted this redesign to look good, alright? After all of that, I still wasn't sure what to do with all the free space, so I thought I'd add a color palette for reference, along with a simple demonstration of how his tail is supposed to function. To fill out the rest of the empty area, I included a few basic facts about him, like gender identity, profession, age, etc. And with that, here's the final design. I really enjoyed how it turned out, and I would want to add more to his story in the future. Though I am much better at designing characters than figuring out character backstories, I'll tell you that much. Let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more redesigns from my childhood art, then check out this video where I redesigned my made-up Pokemon starters. But with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye!